When it comes to selling your product to a person, there's nothing that can compare with being face to face with that person, being in the same room with a person or with a group of people. In terms of like the tools that you use, I'd say just use as many as you're comfortable doing competently. But what I've found is that when you're doing your keyword research just like you normally would, but then you're also co-piloting with AI while you're doing that keyword research, one of our 4 core values is listening. And so when we can listen to why they did this in the first place and who the customer is that they care about. If they came to me and I said, hey, we can clone you and put you in front of in the room with all your ideal customers, well, that would be the first domino to push over.
Dom Fuentes, welcome to eCoffee with Experts. It's good to have you here.
Thanks, Austin. It's great to be here.
As the marketing director at MediaQuest, you spend a lot of time in operations, and you were telling me off camera what your main focus is with a client really within the first year. Can you tell me a little bit more about what the focus is and why that's the case and how it trickles down through the organization?
Yeah, so we are a full spectrum marketing agency. So we'll do everything from video to websites to print materials, social media. But what we like to say is that we put video first. And there's a lot of reasons for that. The video content that we start putting together first is a lot of it's going to be, we do the initial discovery with the client. And we understand exactly who they are, who their ideal customer is. I say exactly, but what actually tends to happening is we have a good idea of what those hard data points are about the client first. But really what we discover is that when we're putting video first and we're getting the client and their key players and leadership team into interview rooms to create the video content that's going to be used later on in future productions, I mean, the discovery never stops. We're doing video content for clients that we've had for years, and we're pulling out, this is new in the middle of doing a video interview with the client and uncovering even nuances, but just real key business drivers for these clients. Because as you maintain that video production over time, you're going to be picking up all the things and priorities that are changing over time for that client as well. And that's why I'd say that discovery never stops, and why video is key, especially in the beginning, but you never want to end that key driver for any campaign. But yeah, there's other reasons. With video, you're going to have a lot better connection. What I believe strongly, and I think that most could just intuitively see this, is that when it comes to selling your product to a person, there's nothing that can compare with being face to face with that person, being in the same room with a person or with a group of people. The closest that you can get to that is with professional video content, especially quality audio. I think the audio is even more important than the quality of the video, because if you think about it, like when people are getting used to their senses, the first sense that is distinct is audio. When they're in the womb, the first thing that they're experiencing is sound. They're not, maybe some lights and stuff like that, but the distinction comes first in audio. And so that's why, when you're producing professional video, that's the key piece, is making sure that what they're hearing is matching well with what they're seeing, but that message is coming through with what's being spoken. The music is setting the right mood, and all the tempo is set to that audio. I can just keep going on and on about video. I love talking about it.
Yeah.
I've got a great team here that has years and years of experience doing video, and I'll still see something they produce today and I'll be like mind blown at how effectively it communicates a new client's message. We like one of the things we like to say too is like one of the reasons that will get us up in the morning is remembering those times and seeking that next time that we can take a client, sit down with them, discover, what they've labored over for years to be able to build a company, especially these mid-sized B2B companies, because they don't get a whole lot of love. They don't get a whole lot of love out there like a consumer company might get. Like a quality consumer company, a quality B2B company, their love is in not getting complaints. And so when they can come to us,
right,
and they can come to us and we hear their message and we listen to them, that's one of our core values, is listening. One of our 4 core values is listening. And so when we can listen to why they did this in the first place and who the customer is that they care about, and we put together that initial just positioning video, is what I'd like to call it, where it just takes, this is who this company is and where they're positioned in the market and the customer that they're targeted towards serving. When we can put that video in front of them the first time, our goal is for that owner to be bawling, to be tears. And whenever
Yeah.
we see that, we're just like, that's
Yeah.
a reason to get up in the morning right there, is to
Yeah.
do that for customers.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So yeah,
go ahead.
for your own clients, right? You want the owner to see that video, like you said, and just be like, oh my gosh, somebody listened to me. They understand me. And then you say,
Mhm.
hey, this is what we are able to do for you. This is how well we listen to you. And now
Mhm.
let us exemplify that for you to your clients and you to your
Right.
customers and your audience as well. And we'll do that
Right.
through strategic video. Tell me a little bit about,
And it's all simultaneous too. Like the product that we put together that they're bawling over is something that is going out, and it's a deliverable. That's something that we're publishing.
So you mentioned to me, like, on the landing pages, you always have video above the fold. Tell me a little bit more about where you're strategically using video. Is it just on social media, landing pages, like YouTube? Like, where are you putting the content, and what are the purposes? And I guess, what are you seeing that has the most traction specifically with, algorithm changes, AI overviews,
Mhm.
everything like that?
Some of the best, like, fast feedback that we get in using video and in multi-channel marketing, because that's how it's going to play out the best most of the time, is that we're using it in combination with other marketing and advertising tools. So Google Ads, unless you're using YouTube, or display ads, which we don't typically use at this point, it's just not part of our toolkit, but we do use Google like search ads specific, because that's still in play. There's still a big piece in play right now. The future of that might be questionable with, the AI search that's coming up. But what I was mentioning is, like, the quickest feedback we get is in recruiting campaigns. So when they have, especially like a job fair is coming up for a client that are running a job fair at their location, some of the best feedback we've gotten is that, we put together a promotional video that's talking about, here's what this company's all about, and it's shots with employees of that company talking about why they work there, shots with leadership talking about what they believe in, and about the culture of their company and what they try and foster. You blend that all together, you put it into like a 30-second or a 60-second, and then you put it out across everything: website, social media. We'll do CTV, OTT ads. We'll do Google ads to run at the same time, and we'll be targeting specific areas with all of those that are close to where they're wanting to hire at. And every time we've run one of those, the feedback has been, from the HR manager, we've never seen more numbers of candidates and more quality of candidate coming in our doors for these job fairs. When you really do that kind of a blitz campaign, it works out really well. And you want to make sure that careers page is really tight for the SEO side of things. You want to make sure that video is on the careers page, that you have an event, like, when's the next hiring or job fair event? So there's a level of, timeliness to it. Hey, this is the action. This is a call to action here, is come to the job fair. So when they visit that careers page and they see, okay, maybe there's a bunch of job openings listed there. There's just a lot for them to absorb. And when they're searching, it's coming up in Google ads. It's coming up organically. Google is going to be giving you better page quality score when people are coming and they're to the page and there's a video there and they're engaging with that. They're spending more time engaged on the page. That's going to give you a higher quality score, both for paid ads and for organic SEO. So video is just like, there's no reason to skip out on video especially for our clients, but there's going to be very few use cases where I see that video is not going to be one of the key parts of a campaign, if you can do it well, and if you can do it to fit your ideal customer, because that's part of doing it well, is you want to make sure that it fits their expectations and needs.
And like you were saying, a strong video content that really resonates with the ICP and who you're going after, it can make them emotional and get them to take the next step much easier than just block of text. Along with the SEO efforts you're putting on, I mean, when you think about a website and you think about landing pages, are you still thinking about ranking, or what sort of metrics are you looking for in terms of SEO that actually move the needle in the post-AI era?
Yeah, so the post-AI era specifically, when we still are using some of the same, like, keyword research that goes into building out the copy of a web page today. And what I've looked this up, and I'm not sure what the truth of it is, but what I've found is that when you're when you're doing your keyword research, just like you normally would, but then you're also co-piloting with AI while you're doing that keyword research, and you're like being just open with it. This is this company. These are their services. This is like, and so we take like a transcript from the video interviews we do. Here's everything that they say that they do. Let's get some terminology about what their ideal customer might type in for this. We're co-piloting with AI, because that's how I see the use of AI as more of a co-pilot with an expert in the seat next to it who can read through, well, here's all these different keywords, and you can be like, that one's not relevant at all, and you can scrub it. But in the post AI, setting up the page to have the right keyword research going into the copy as you're using AI at the same time, what I found is like, just anecdotally, I've seen clients starting to pop up in AI search results with those platforms. And my thought is that when you're doing the co-piloting with AI, it's also learning from those conversations about those clients. So it gives you two reasons to use it. One, because it's a quality tool. It's a new tool that's if you use it right and you're not just using it with a single brain cell, you're going to be able to get a lot out of it. But it also, like, I've asked it, hey, are you learning from this and reserving this in your search results? It's like, no, we're not doing that. But like, I'm seeing it happens. It's been a couple months since I last checked if there's been any news or research about that. But that's my suspicion since then, is that there's a key benefit in AI optimization as well, to using it in your keyword research and planning out the copy for your web pages and landing pages.
Yeah. So I guess in terms of like, when you're talking with a client, you have website traffic, you have rankings, there's a couple other, if you want to measure DR and like the increase in DR, although that's like, quickly eroding in importance. I think, I mean, it's still important, don't get me wrong, but what sort of metrics are you going after for the client? Is it specifically like quality leads, quality candidates, like conversions, because a lot of the times now, like, traffic is sometimes a vanity metric, rankings sometimes a vanity metric, AI visibility. Okay, now we're getting into something maybe, but still, we're looking across platform, like, and trying to find attribution. It's all over the place. So I guess for you guys, like, what's important to really focus in on and try and drive as a KPI?
Yeah, great question. It's going to depend on the client. So we have some clients who are just very inventory focused. They're rental inventory. We got to get it out there. So for them, the KPI is really drilling down into not just conversion, but contracts. So we want to see how many contracts do we get this month as a result of these people who reached out through the call to action on the website. So we're looking at the and the contract rate, I guess you would call it, the rental contract rate. So we would take the amount of website traffic and then compare that to how many contracts resulted from those that reached out through the form. And most of that's going to be new clients too, or new customers for them. If it's a different company that's more focused on setting them, like, we have other clients that are very focused on brand reputation, which is something we do really well with, it's video content. So that's our flagship service. So brand reputation, but also graphic design. We have fantastic graphic designers that are going to come into that with the consistency across the print and sales material and everything. But with the website too, it's looking at not just traffic, but I think the best thing there is going to be engagement rate, and looking at drilling down into what data you can about who's visiting, like age ranges. With Google Analytics, you can't get as much as you could with like LinkedIn ads campaign results, because with like LinkedIn, you can get a lot of data about people that are looking at your ads. But with Google Analytics, you're looking at just some basics, but I think the key things are going to be engagement rate there. And contact form submissions too. But you're wanting to look at like how many new people are coming in, because the brand being established is going to show, if you have a healthy brand and a growing brand, you're going to have a good healthy balance between new and returning visitors on your website as well. So the KPIs there too, I think that the key one for if brand reputation is the main focus, that's a good long-term kind of goal for any company to have. And we try and emphasize that even for those that are more inventory, we got to get the contracts in each month. Yeah, totally. We're going to do that. But we got to do that with also building a long-term high brand reputation at the same time, because that's going to give you that market dominance for your company as well. But for that market dominance, a lot of the feedback that we have to get is us asking the client, what are they saying about you? What are your
Yeah.
contemporaries? What are your new customers? What we need to hear, like actual testimonial feedback about it. And so when we hear that, like hear them coming back to us and saying that their reputation is preceding them in meetings and that people are like starting to treat them differently and respect them differently, it's not as easy to put numbers to that, unfortunately, but that's like the key. And it's easier to do that when you're an enterprise level, huge corporation. You can do those sort of surveys and focus groups, especially if you're B2C and you're able to just spread it out and get that data in. But when you're a mid-sized B2B business, it's all about, okay, what's the level of trust and reputation that you're experiencing right now? And that has to be feedback directly from the client. But in the end, if that's what they are experiencing, that's what matters most. If their conversations are easier with new customers than they were 5 years ago, then that's good data for us to have and for them to see too. That's how we've built a lot of trust with clients that come to us for brand reputation as well.
Yeah. It's a little more, and I agree with you, brand reputation and sentiment obviously is a little more touchy-feely, and it's much harder to measure. It's very qualitative. But, if we look at AI, when information is commoditized and data even is commoditized, like everybody has data now, really what comes through is taste and like how, with, like you said, graphic design, or how well the video is done, how people feel, like how can you measure that trust? It's very difficult, but those are going to be the competitive advantages, is like how small of a section of our logo can we show that people recognize? You know what I mean? Like, is it a color? Is it a curvature of a line? Is it the font? So, and that was something that I learned at one of my previous roles. He's like, the less of your logo that you can show and people still recognize, that's how strong your brand is.
Yeah, that's a good measurement. I like that.
Yeah, it is really good. So tell me a little bit more about, brand recognition, brand reputation. Are you doing digital PR campaigns, traditional PR campaigns, link building, mentions? I guess what are sort of the, if we're going down to the tactical level, like how are you going about building reputation, sentiment, and authority?
Yeah, a lot of it's consistency in the multi-channel approach too, and knowing where the ideal customer is. And sometimes the ideal customer is technically an ideal job candidate for us too, because we do a lot of recruiting for these clients. In the oil field, recruiting is very chaotic. Not chaotic. There's a lot of moving back and forth in the oil field industry because there's a lot of it's very heavily competitive, the recruiting in the oil field industry.
Yeah.
You're always trying to get the best person because there's a lot of reputation and trust that comes with having the best person on your team, all the way down to the field tech level too. So when it comes to the tactics of doing that, like spreading out across the social media channels that those people are most likely going to be on, making sure that web, so you're doing both inbound and outbound at the same time. So when you have the outbound campaign working well, but you don't have a good inbound campaign with the proper SEO and webpage and everything all set up, then you're kind of like wasting a little bit of your effort there.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that a lot of the times when we're creating content, for like our main priority, of course, like I said before, is video. But when we're building that, we're thinking about, okay, what's the inbound game and the call to action and conversions that we're looking to build, and then the keyword strategy that's built around that. And it's all informed by what we're learning from the video marketing. But the tactics of getting, let's say, we'll just use that example, the recruitment campaign to get somebody to convert is going to be nailing down that messaging in the outbound, and then having the web page for the inbound have the right keywords in the job listings, having as much video associated with whatever job opening is the priority at the time. There's a level of nimbleness that needs to be available there for the tactics to work well, because you can't just use the same video over and over again for each job that you're hiring for. There has to be the ability from both you and the client to be able to discuss and, hey, let's get this person, this specific person in this role on camera to talk about what it's like to be working, whether it's, we do a lot in Texas. So whether it's working in the West Texas side of things or the East Texas side of things, because those are two different oil basins. So being able to be specific in location, in culture, there's a lot of specificity in both the inbound and outbound to make sure that everything aligns correctly.
Yeah.
So like in terms of like the tools that you use, I'd say just use as many as you're comfortable doing competently. So for us, we're not doing so much like Google display ads or Google or YouTube video advertising. That's something that we've done a little bit of, but there's certain things that we're putting together as many tools across the different inbound and outbound channels as we can do competently. And then make sure, like the key tactic there is to make sure that they're all aligned for a good funnel where somebody's not bouncing around with different messaging or different types of branding or different voices from one thing to another, but it's all seamless. Like you go from seeing somebody on social media, you forget about them for a week, you come back and you're like, oh, I need to find a better job position as a field tech in the oil field. You're searching for it on Google. They come up both in the organic and paid results. Maybe you skip over the paid results because that's what you do all the time. You go down to the organic, but you still saw them in the paid results. So you know that they care. Yeah. You go down to the organic and you see this person, this is a group that I saw on Facebook last week and they had that awesome video talking about job positions. I go there, land on the career page. I see the one that I'm looking for. There's another video there that I haven't seen before that talks a little bit more about the company culture. It's just hitting people with message as ready as they are to hear the next piece of the message and having that planned out. So that's like the key tactic is just thinking about, okay, what does your client want to do and thinking about how the customer can best connect with them over a period of time and multiple encounters with them until they're convinced that to make that decision, because we don't want to bring in the wrong customers or the wrong candidates for them either. Yeah. So you got to make sure that like, hey, they're only recruiting the top tier individuals. I need a little bit more time under my belt before I can even apply for this position. We want to make that clear and everything too. So a lot of it's in just that those tactics are in gathering up the tools in the different channels and making sure that they're all tight in messaging.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the way that MediaQuest like really focuses on helping the business grow and become recognized and almost evolve as a brand as a mid-market scales to the higher echelons of mid-market, not quite enterprise yet, but you really help them internally grow and develop as a company and not just like, hey, we're just going to get you leads and don't talk to us for a month and we'll check in next month. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I guess as we kind of wrap up, I am curious in terms of SEO, how are you approaching like the more, I guess traditional link building and developing brand authority in that sense? Is it something that you're focused on or is it mostly like video content and focused on content?
Yeah, I would say that our focus areas and the areas of competency are achieving a lot of the strong results, and we're drilling down on those with link building. As we're niching down and discovering the clients that we're doing the best work for and achieving the best things for, we're also discovering there's, everybody in marketing knows this, that it's always changing. There's always more that you can do better as you grow your team and as you grow your understanding of which clients you're serving best. And so I'd say link building is a great growth area for us. It's something that I've checked into from time to time, but it's not something that we've really activated as much as we could.
Yeah.
Among a million other things that we could.
Yeah.
That we could activate. But I think link building is probably a key thing that we could grow into next. It's not yet my next domino to push over for our clients.
Sure. Yeah. And I love the way that you put that, there's a million other things that we haven't activated yet, and it will continue to be so. That's why we all have careers in marketing, is because it's interesting and fascinating, fast-paced and ever-changing. And we get to talk with people who get that, they understand, and it kind of, it's. I love being in this industry. It sounds like you're passionate about it as well, and we'll continue doing that. Speaking of pushing over a big domino, as we wrap up, this will be a great question. Like, which big domino, if you were a listener that is, they have a brand and they're trying to get out to more people, become more recognized, what's the big domino you feel that they could push over that would make everything else easier or even irrelevant?
Have you read the book, The One Thing?
I have, but I don't have it on my bookshelves.
Yeah,
but it was
I just read it recently. Yeah, it was like 2012.
I see it back there.
You said that. I was like, that's from that book I just read. Yeah, but that's why I
Nice.
was talking about dominoes pushing them over too, is that it's so if somebody was coming to me like, what's the big domino I can push over to make everything else easier or unnecessary from a marketing standpoint? Let's just assume that this is going to be the same type of client that we've been talking about, where it's a B2B oil and gas company, and they do services and they rent things to clients. The first thing I'm going to say to them is that, the way that we can get video in front of people that helps them connect with you in a way that they understand what you're about, they need to understand why. Like, one of the first things a video has to inform them is, why are you even in this? Like, why, like, are you going to be gone tomorrow?
Oh,
Like, or is there the key domino that they can first push over is going to be how we can get video in front of people that's going to connect them with you in a way that they understand why you're even doing this in the first place. Because if they don't have confidence or trust in the first few seconds that you're serious about serving them, that you're not just going to be gone the next year and they have to find a whole new vendor, they're not going to give you their time to even consider. They're going to move on to the next person. So the first thing that the question in their mind that needs to be answered is, are these people serious? Are they actually in this? Is this the reason they get up in the morning? And so getting that video in front of people that unlocks it and answers that question first, and then answers the next series of questions that are important to that ideal customer profile, is going to be that key domino to have fall over. And that's why we often start with like a positioning video for a company. And I say video, but like, if you have the video and it's just like on a flash drive somewhere, like, it's not doing you any good. So
Yeah.
the bigger piece of that is, the website that they're going to land on to watch that video, and all the social media channels that you have it playing on, and making sure that people are actually showing up on that website, whether that's through ads, or not whether, but both through ads and through the organic SEO, to make sure that they're able to take in that content. It is all going to be key. But like, I wouldn't want to have all those things set up and for there to be a long delay before we have the video to go on to go with those things. So a lot of times we wanted to have those things happening simultaneously. And that's why, there's a lot of things that compete for priority, but that being in mind, you want to have that video that's able to sort of tie everything together across your campaigns, because it's basically putting you in the room with that ideal customer. Because that, like, if they came to me and I said, hey, we can clone you and put you in front of in the room with all your ideal customers, well, that would be the first domino to push over. Like,
exactly.
okay, there you go. That's marketing's done.
Yeah.
You've cloned me, and I'm in the room with all my customers because I know my message, I know my value, and I understand them and how to talk to them. Well, let's do that. Let's clone you and put you in the room with all your customers. We'll do video and we'll put it on web and make sure that people find it.
Yeah, and really understanding where the ideal customer is hanging out. Yeah, man.
Right.
So, Dom, thank you for being here. Where can we find you online?
Well, you can find me on LinkedIn, but I think the best way to look at any of the stuff that I'm doing is to see all the awesome stuff my team is doing at MediaQuestWeb.com. That's our main website. And from there, you'll be able to find all our social channels, and they'll share things from me from time to time on there as well. But there's really a lot of wisdom on our team to look forward to when you check out our socials from there too.
Cool. I love that. Teamwork makes the dream work. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Austin. It's been a pleasure.